I'm a big fan of KiraTV. I think he's a. The thing I like about him mainly is his research, his fair-headedness. This is the kind of guy that will go into financials. He will read, white papers, and he will look into research people's LinkedIn's and try and figure out what's really going on behind certain scams, certain NFT enterprises, for want of a better word. And that's his channel. He's a scam YouTuber. Covers scams, crypto scams, MMOs, and rarely does he ever talk about Star Citizen. But today he has, or a few days ago at least, I think that there was some sort of controversy about, what was it, the roadmap? Roadmap, instead of showing 4 quarters, it shows just 1 quarter now. So that was kind of slim pickings, I think, for drama these days, especially with the Star Citizen critics. So I look forward to his balanced, well-researched, honest opinions. No clickbait, no rage bait. This is going to be very well thought out, I imagine. Serious, considered KiraTV with no volume.
Get a little bit controversial in the... Okay, today we're talking about Star Citizen, which it might get a little bit controversial up in here, it might get a little bit controversial in the comment section, but I do want to talk about this. It does seem like it's a fairly interesting and large story.
It's a large story.
Quite a drama going on with this at the moment, with the community quite split on how to react to this one, and I think it's really interesting. So we're going to go over it, and I will forgive you if you've not been keeping up with Star Citizen as much, because of course at this stage, if you had been keeping up with it, you'd be a decade older, you'd have read.
Yeah, time marches on. But yeah, we can't see Kira because of John Travolta. That's just try to imagine John Travolta as Kira. They kind of look similar, actually.
Thousands of hours of interviews, watched thousands of hours of video, potentially played the game for thousands of hours, and obviously I haven't done that. So if I get something wrong, I am just talking about this from my perspective, from what I know, in my opinion, and I am fully willing to admit that I'm not the most in tune with what's gone on with the project. I know some stuff, I've watched some videos, read some interviews, but if I do get something wrong that was clarified on a forum post 7 years ago somewhere, then you will have to let me know, and that's totally fine, I accept.
So we start the video by saying, I don't really know what I'm talking about. However, this is my favorite bit of the video. I don't really know what the fuck I'm talking about, but let's jump in. Why not? Why don't you know more? I guess it's too big a project to be that read up on. It's not as easy as Crypto Land, or with Earth 2, you just have to follow one Twitter account. You just have to follow Shane Isaac.
But I do just want to talk about this. So CIG posted a roadmap roundup, and it seems to have got people quite upset. Now, what could get the community of Star Citizen quite upset?
Everything, literally everything. Nerfing presence gets the community upset.
At this point, I think most people at this stage are quite apathetic to what's going on. Most people are just willing to accept the fact that it's done when it's done, and we're just going to wait. And then obviously on some fringe sides, you've got people that are really upset, that want to get their money out, and they want to just call the game a scam, etc, etc. And then on the other side, you've got people that will defend literally anything. So on this topic, we have a lot of Group A and Group B here. And
what group am I in? Will I defend literally everything? I don't know if I fit into that category.
Some people in the middle that are looking at it and saying, this
am I in the
issue.
middle?
So particularly what got people upset was Quote, "It has become abundantly clear to us that despite our best efforts to communicate the fluidity of development and how features marked as tentative should sincerely not be relied upon, the general focus of many of our most passionate players has been to lead them to interpret anything on the release view as a promise. We want to acknowledge that not all of you saw it that way. Many took our new focus and our words to heart and understood exactly what we tried to convey.
That's me. They're talking about me. I'm not the dummy.
A very loud contingent of roadmap watchers who see projections as promises." And
I love roadmap watchers as a pejorative. You fucking roadmap watchers. I'm not a roadmap watcher. I'm a good guy. I almost never look at the roadmap. I looked at it once in my periphery. I just sort of saw that it was a roadmap in the corner of my eye and was like,
continued noise every time we shifted.
Continued noise. Everything on the release view is a promise. What is it? There still remains a very loud contingent of roadmap watchers who see projections as promises, and their continued noise every time we shift deliverables has become a distraction. I love this sentence. It's so fucking harsh.
Deliverables has become a distraction, both internally at CIG and within our community, as well as to prospective
Maybe don't say that.
Fans
Maybe don't say that.
At our open development communications.
That's a bit rough.
If I was going to read through that, pick apart every single section, we'd probably be 10 minutes into the video before I finished, because I do think pretty much every part of that paragraph there just drips with passive aggressiveness, entitlement, gratefulness to an extent as well, and it's pretty bad.
Should you be grateful of all the abuse? I don't know if you should be grateful for that. I'm sure they're grateful for their support. I'm sure they're grateful for the money. I'm sure they're grateful for all the love that they get. But some of the criticism is a bit noisy.
Honestly, if you cut through the PR of that, they're basically saying that they don't like the fact that people are trying to hold them accountable and be
not true. I don't think
rightly so upset at the lack of accountability of them saying, you know, this is going to happen, and then it doesn't. If you followed Star Citizen for any amount of time, you know that if something is an X, Y, and Z of what you're going to get, you might get X, but it'll probably be late. You might get Y, but it'll be very late. And Z, you're still waiting for that 4 or 5 years later. So,
yeah, I mean, you know, projects taking a long time. Games take a long time to make. Games take a lot of money to make. It's always the same criticisms. It's always the same handful of tired criticisms, and the roadmap going from 4 quarters to 1 is a great opportunity to dredge up all these old criticisms. The issue I have here is like, yeah, it's taking a long time, but is that a bad thing? I don't know. Is that a bad thing? I mean, I get vaporware, I get like development hell, but like, what's something that's good that is fast? Like, fast food is generally not considered good. Anything mass-produced quickly is considered not necessarily very good. Fast sex is not necessarily considered to be very good, or so my wife tells me. So, yeah, this project's going to take a long time. They're going to take their time with it. They're not going to be rushed. They're not going to cut anything. They're not going to cut any features. So let them take their time. Like, who cares? Are you late for a date or something, Kira? You don't give a fuck how long it's taking. This guy doesn't give a shit. Look at him. He doesn't give a shit how long it takes. He just wants to join the circle jerk for clicks.
So it's a problem. It's always been a problem with Star Citizen.
Why?
And to say, you know, this is something that is wrong with the community and the community's perception of game development, I completely disagree with it. Really, really vehemently disagree with that. And on top of that, to call people, you know, roadmap watchers, what
that's bad.
What can people do? They've been waiting for a fucking decade for
play
this
the game,
like,
Kira.
I think
they can play the game.
Should be a roadmap watcher, because what else are you going to look at?
Game.
Everyone's waiting for progress to be made, and while progress does get made, not at the rate by which you would expect from a company that's had at this stage $500 million. And of course, they've scaled up development.
They've
got a lot more developers than when they first started, and they are faster with things now. I still think it's reasonable to say it's not as good as it should be. It's not as quick as it should be. And just to say,
it's not as quick. Like, you know, like how it's not as quick as it should be. It's not as quick as it should be. Like, how do you know? Like, we just look at this screenshot we've frozen on. It's like a massive gas planet with volumetric clouds in a solar system that you can explore. It's a pretty unique little project. A kind of one of a kind. First time anything like this has been done. We're kind of in uncharted territory. So who's to say how long it should be taking? This code is massive. It's complicated. It's getting old. It's very difficult to deal with. They clearly can't predict how long things are going to take because it's immensely fucking complicated. Like, these armchair developers, and I'm guilty of that too, of armchair developing, but who's to say how? I'm sure they're putting out things as quickly as they possibly can. Like, what are we supposed to be holding them accountable for? Like, there's a lot of people working very hard all the time and they're constantly updating it. Outside of that, what can we do? What is accountability in this context? Like, are death threats? Death threats are a kind of accountability, aren't they? Finish this game or I'll kill your family is a kind of accountability. Is this the kind of accountability that Kira is talking about? Like, they just bought a massive studio and are hiring as many people as they can. Outside of that, what really can they do?
Like, to focus on this part, to say the people that are upset or just having a conversation, critically analysing what you've been doing, and
that's not it though, is it? That's not really these kind of stupid hit pieces like Otaku or Polygon or KiraTV that'll pile on for the circle jerk. Like, criticizing the circle jerk, I think, is okay, right? Like, the circle jerk is tired, it's unoriginal, it's dead, saying the same goddamn things over and over again, circling the drain. There's plenty of conversation going on about Star Citizen, and a lot of it's critical. A lot of it's critical happening on the subreddit that you don't visit unless you want content for your shitty channel.
And to reduce that down to noise that's distracting you, that feels like you're shifting the blame of how far behind you are and how little progress you make at times to be in.
Yeah. So that's all PR, right? So the PR statement was bad. The PR statement was really, really bad. But that's content for you, Kira. That's money for you. How many views has this got? Like 143,000 views? That's money for you, Kira. Like, they dropped the ball on their PR and now you get to make money.
These people fucking complaining about what we're doing, and
you're complaining about making money.
The things that we've missed.
You ever notice that Kira has lots of ads on his videos?
Repeatedly, over and over again. That's why we're making less progress than we should be, which is absolutely
not what they said.
Insane as a premise. And then, of course,
absolutely not what they said.
Of course, this added section, as well as to prospective Star Citizen fans watching from the sidelines, that is basically saying, we want you loud people that are upset, that are trying to hold us accountable for our actions and to get what they've paid for out of us. We want you to shut up because you're stopping new money coming into the game, and we want...
Yes, that's true. That is what that is saying, but still, it's a PR fuck up. It's kind of funny.
Want that new money, which I don't know, guys. That's a really fucking bad sentence to be saying.
It is, yeah.
When you're talking to a community, they've given you $430 million.
Yep.
Like,
yep.
That's
true.
a crazy thing to be saying to that audience. But obviously, beyond this, it means that they're going to be changing how they use their roadmap, and we will no longer show any deliverables in the release view for any patches beyond the immediate one in the next quarter.
Just like any other company. Just like any other company. What a drama. What a drama. Oh my god.
So basically, this is going to change fundamentally how they show what they're working on and what.
No, it won't. It'll change the release view a bit. That's about it. Fundamentally, it will fundamentally change the way they'll communicate. It's like they communicate so goddamn much. They communicate too much. They're just gonna narrow down the release view a bit. That's all. Still gonna have fucking Inside Star Citizens every goddamn week and live streams, weekly and monthly updates. Is just, it's over the top.
What the deliverables are going to be, so that you, the people who are paying for the deliverables, can't fucking moan about it. That's where they're at with this. Now, obviously,
that would be a good thing.
I use quite a lot. Reddit, absolute dogshit website that pretty much turns into an echo chamber almost always.
Take the hint. Take the hint, Kira. It's a fucking circle jerk that you're just lining up to get a quick tug. You got to give a tug to get a tug.
The Star Citizen community, I've never really seen them this split on something. Whenever I see like a story come out that many people following Star Citizen but not heavily invested in Star Citizen see as controversial, it doesn't make that many waves on the Reddit. I might be wrong on that.
You're wrong on that.
But just from my anecdotal experience of when I look at the dramas, I never really see too much of it on Reddit, and if so, it's usually quite downvoted.
The fucking drama on the Reddit is out of control. It's every 2 weeks. It's like some dev says the Odyssey is a character killer. That's a drama. They nerf the presence. That's a drama. They nerfed the Redeemer and the Ion, which is fair enough that people paid for that, but still, that's a massive drama. Hex codes, the fucking colors of the ships are a drama. Like the amount of dramas they've had in just the past couple of months have been out of control.
This is obviously people talking about it, and of course there are comments like, my apologies to CIG for feeling frustrated after 10 years and for distracting people from spending more money, which is exactly how I see this as well. And then people saying, it's strange how the sales events and things like that aren't distracting, which of course that's a good point. And then this comment from James T. Sheridan is a really good one. He says, failing to deliver what you literally sold people on to the point you're multiple years behind your own timeframes is a legitimate reason for people that bought into your dream to be frustrated. Absolutely. Turning around and blaming the lack of progress on backers because they point out your consistent incompetence in failure to deliver on the statements you make, like Pyro next year, thousands of players next year, or 100 to 200 players servers next year, is pitiful. Absolutely agree. Heaven forbid that you be held accountable when Chris Roberts goes up on a stage at your own CitizenCon and puts up clear slides and statements of timeframes that go nowhere. This is all a big true at this stage. I would hope the developers get pretty distracted when the funds being used to pay them are being crowdfunded on the back of those statements with a clear indication that you deliver on those statements. This is probably my biggest pet peeve with Star Citizen in general, because as I've said many times, and some people will really, really disagree on this point, Star Citizen was originally funded on Kickstarter, and some people funded Star Citizen on it's going to be A.
Yeah. So let's go back. Let's get back to this guy failing to deliver. Yeah, especially OG backers. Like this is. I think this first sentence is a good point. Like, it's natural to be frustrated. We didn't think it would take this long, and now it's becoming this universe simulator that's taking a million years. Fair enough that you're frustrated. Turning around and blaming the lack of progress on backers, like, they didn't really do that. That's a bit harsh. I mean, this is why you don't fuck up on PR. This is why we have Corpo speak, to avoid dramas like this. The passive aggressiveness of that PR statement did make people think that they're blaming the lack of progress on backers. And these, delays are like, they fucking suck. Delays suck, it's like there's no way around it. But this game is going to take a long time. the problem here is the crowdfunding on the back of those statements, that they're making money, they're creating hype on stuff that they want to deliver, raising money, and then failing to deliver those things in a reasonable amount of time. So that's marketing, I guess, and game devs not gelling. But like, this is the heart of the problem for me. Like, this game is going to take a million years to make. The longer you take, the better it will be. Just take your time. I don't care. But this hype, the fucking hype in this game is unreal. Hyping all this stuff that is just like years and years away. But yeah, that's the main problem. Even like, Chris Roberts going up on stage and showing timelines, like they can't say how long things are going to take. Clearly, they can't say how long things are going to take. Whether Pyro comes this year or next year, they're saying this year, but it might be next year. Even now, they're saying that. They have no idea. They can't schedule it because it's too complicated. But that's the deal. It's like almost 10 years old now. If you don't get that, you're a fucking idiot. This is the deal. Either you accept this deal or you don't. And don't fundraise off the back of stupid hype. So now he's talking about like paying for Squadron 42 and getting Star Citizen, which is also kind of shitty. I agree, but like what I said before, it's like these old criticisms, like, hey, it's cost a lot of money, it's taking a lot of time, and this is another one, like people who bought in to get Wing Commander 4 or what's that game? Not Privateer, the other one. Anyway, an update on one of Chris Roberts' other games. This is not Wing Commander 4. This is like some crazy fucking experiment. This insane experiment they're all part of. It's like totally fucking unique. And I'm really, really interested to see where it goes, even if it does fucking implode.
Way before you just run out of money, and that's if people continue to fund you at a reasonable amount. If the funding starts dipping to the point where you're losing money every month, this project could literally just stop existing. They'd have to release it as is and hope that they could earn enough money, and they would literally have to fire hundreds and hundreds of people, close multiple studios, and then that would slow the progress down to a crawl again. Plus, it's like a snowball rolling downhill.
Yeah, this is a good point. So when we're talking about accountability, are we talking about like yelling on the internet or sending death threats? Or accountability is like this weird gas that permeates everything. Accountability is really, really a complex idea, and Kira's right here. Obviously, if they don't make the game, if they don't release updates, if they don't get Pyro out soon, enthusiasm drops, funding drops, the game stalls, people get fired, studios close. That's accountability, in my opinion. They're accountable to us, the gamers, but also to their backers, and they're accountable just by their actions, that their actions will have destroyed their reputation in the gaming community. That's another layer of accountability. But also, if they don't get this product out, they will lose their jobs.
Gains traction, and you start seeing the headlines of, Cloud Imperium Games, Star Citizen fires 200 developers and closes 2 studios. Obviously, that wouldn't be good, and it would obviously it could literally kill the game. And see, people funding the game cannot hold CIG accountable. What can you do as a whole?
What do you mean?
And we just stop existing, and whereby they cannot be held accountable. Literally, the people funding the game cannot hold CIG accountable, because if they do, the game could legitimately just stop existing, and they're $450 million out of pocket as a whole, and that's literally how it goes. So what can you do if you can't stop giving them money because the game might stop existing? Well, you can talk about it, but this is the official stance of CIG, saying, if you're talking about it, you're hurting us, and the noise is distracting us. So it's your fault we're not making progress, and it's your fault we're not getting more money, which means that you're putting the game at risk. I think shifting that blame onto the audience that supported
still, it's just bad
stage.
Yeah, bad PR. Bad PR. We get it. Yeah.
But somehow I think at least within the reasonable take, people are saying Star Citizen community is delusional, and I'm getting tired of it. So from that title, I'm thinking, good, so far so good. Star Citizen community is on some of these points being delusional. But then he says, I'm an original backer from 2012. I've spent over 1,000.
I love how all these fucking posts start like that. Like, I'm an original backer from 2012. So that's your credibility. You have to start every post like that. I'm a backer from 1983. I've spent over $1,000 on this project. Well, I'm going to take you more seriously.
So I have a million reasons to get mad about CIG. We were promised a game in 14 or 15, and we're still in alpha. Major game features are being delayed seemingly forever. So far, so good. He then starts moving into, even though I am someone who could be upset, I'm not upset. And
we'll finish after this statement because it's already been 25 minutes. But
the reason is, you all getting upset that they can't keep their schedule. Guess what? That's always going to be part of game development.
Yes, true.
To this extent, no.
Yes.
No, not really. But
it's unparalleled game. Like, to this extent, what are you comparing it to? The other time someone tried to build a fucking universe in a game?
Our community keeps asking for dates. Yes, of course they do. When is X going to be finished? CIG doesn't know.
They don't know.
Have so many dependencies, but the community keeps pushing them into giving out dates. So they give out dates and then they can't keep them. The community gets upset and asks about new dates. The idea that you're shifting the blame on the community for wanting to know when the game they paid for, the product they paid for, is going to be finished.
It's never going to be finished, Kira. It's never going to be finished. People ask when it's going to be released. It's released. It was released when the Hangar module was released. And they're just going to keep on adding to it, keep on developing it forever. This is the status quo. There's going to be bugs forever in this game. This game is too big and too complicated not to have bugs. They're going to just continue developing this game into the foreseeable future. It will never be finished. I paid like $50 for this game and I'm playing it today. Pretty happy. Like, when is the game going to be finished? Never.
It's fucking incredible. As a consumer, like, how are you taking the side of it?
As a consumer, I tested this game for free, bought the game, and I'm happy with the game. Like, what's the problem?
Of a company that lives and dies based on the money that you give them as a supporter of this product, and not...
I mean, like, they are working. To be fair, like, we are giving them money that supports them, but it's not like they're just sitting around smoking cigars. I mean, the company's working, it's making stuff. Like, you don't think they deserve an income?
In solidarity with the other people that have paid for this to this day, and just want to know when things are going to be done. I think that's a reasonable thing to want, or at least if not the whole game being done, when are the features that I've paid for going to be done? So the game...
You don't pay for features, that's a weird thing to say, but that's why they're focusing on the first quarter. That's like a function of changing this roadmap. They have the progress tracker to give you an idea. They have tons of communication. They have tons of videos, Kira. You should try checking them out. So you don't sound foolish when you get on the internet and bash shit you don't know what you're talking about. Just the amount of communication this goddamn company gives is out of control. And what are we supposed to be complaining about?
Games a little bit better, so I can enjoy it as much as I can while I wait for
I'm
it to
enjoying
be finished.
Yeah,
I think that's a completely reasonable thing to expect, and to put that on the community, completely ridiculous. I remember all the people crying out when they delayed Cyberpunk, we want it now and so on. They released it with 1 year delay, it still sucked after nearly a decade of game development. Now, I understand the whataboutism here that, other game did something, other game bad.
Other game, like most games.
So we don't want to do the same thing, but nobody had to pay for Cyberpunk. Nobody
nobody has to pay for Star Citizen either. I mean, you don't have to buy the game.
Funded Cyberpunk for a decade, so it's comparing apples to oranges, and to say like,
yeah, comparing apples to oranges. I mean, like, you've just spent the whole video saying how long things should take. Like, how are you making those calls? Like, how do you know how long something should take unless you're comparing to things that have already been made in the market? We have a lot of MMOs out there. We have a lot of games out there. So that gives you sort of like a rough estimate on how long a game should take. And so you've been just like hammering Star Citizen, saying it's taking too long, because you're comparing it to the other games that are in the market. And then when this guy says Cyberpunk 2077, then it's comparing apples to oranges.
Like a one game released and it got rushed.
What one game? One game got rushed. one game got rushed because of the release timeline. Like, that's a fucking stupid thing to say, isn't it? I mean, especially Kira is just like, it makes his whole living like shitting on games that get rushed. Like half of these games, especially whatchamacallit, New World.
I don't think it even got rushed by consumers, by the way. I think the shareholders and the higher ups rushed the game out, from what I remember reading from the...
It doesn't matter. What does it matter why things get rushed? Why did Anthem get rushed? Why did New World get rushed? What did Battlefield get rushed? Like, why do games get rushed? They have to get released. They have to get sold. They have to get their money back. Like, it's apples and oranges, but it's like Star Citizen is the apple in a marketplace full of oranges. We have oranges. If you want to go and play your Cyberpunks, if you want to go play Anthem or Battlefield or New World, go and do it. Just, we're doing something a little bit different, and it's taking a long time. You see posts in the Cyberpunk subreddit where it's like, they gutted this feature, they gutted this feature just to get it to release, just to get it on the shelves and in the stores so they can start making their money back. Star Citizen isn't gutting features, and Star Citizen is allowing the devs to make the game that they want to make with all the features that they want to make it with. It's a good thing.
The behind the scenes, I don't think saying, because this happened with one game, we should just not expect our game to be held accountable to any dates whatsoever.
Still not what they're saying. Like, they are trying to hold themselves accountable to dates within one patch cycle, like any other company.
Completely wrong. And again, you've paid for this ahead of time.
Yes, we remember.
Obviously,
I remember. I know.
Cyberpunk, but if you did that,
yes, you pre-order things. Pre-order things happening all the time. Like, this is why they don't pre-order EA games. EA is another one. There's so many publishers, so many games. Oh my god,
that's your own fucking problem, right? You shouldn't be pre-ordering games when you don't know what they're like, when you've seen no reviews, when you've seen no actual gameplay from anyone who's a credible source.
Absolutely true. Like, that's the problem with pre-ordering, and like, Star Citizen sits in this weird spot because, like, you can play it and people are buying ship concepts now. They're releasing ship concepts now, and it's like, that's a kind of pre-ordering, but you do kind of know the company and you know the game, so it's a weird middle ground there. Yeah, what happened with Cyberpunk really sucked, and that's the danger of hype. I mean, they actively lied. They hyped a bunch of features that all got gutted. Star Citizen hypes features and then delays them, but I don't know if they've cut anything major. Building?
And then he goes on to say, and this is the worst thing, I think this is one of the worst takes I've ever heard, while still having a grain of truth within it. Star Citizen isn't a game. You are not buying a game. You are buying into a man's dream.
True.
I knew that when I bought it, and I'm sorry to all that didn't, but stop spreading this negativity. You won't get the game one day sooner. I don't worry about any dates anymore CIG gives out, because I know they're pressured to do so. This game is going to be ready when it's ready, probably the only game that can claim so, and I'm okay with it. This is what you get when you buy Star Citizen, and if you thought otherwise, you are either delusional or simply misinformed. Now, this, to me, is an absolutely ridiculous comment to make.
Why?
Star Citizen isn't a game and you're not buying a game. Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is a game. Kira's got a point there. It is a game.
And yes, you are. Or at least that's what most people bought in. You're buying into a man's dream of a game. And on top of that, a lot of people who bought in Star Citizen don't care who Chris Roberts is, don't care what his dream is. They simply read the words, this is what you will get for your money, and they want that thing, so they give money. So they are literally like buying into a game. Even if it wasn't a game and it was just a product, and you want to look at it from that angle, they're looking at what a product description is, a promise of what the product will be, and then giving money for it and expecting that thing. They're not using, and somebody says this comment in here, they're not using dream dollars to buy somebody's dream. They're using real money to buy a promised product. So that is exactly what they should expect back.
Yeah. That's all fair enough. I think that's kind of a half good point. Like, I had to do a bit of research to sort of find out who Chris Roberts was and what this project was, and it's like, oh, this is probably gonna fucking collapse and die, this whole project. But I still bought in because it's only $50 and I'm not poor. But it's a good point to make, that you really got to know what you're buying into when you buy into Star Citizen, because, as I said before, it does take a million years to get anything out. It's kind of an incredibly unique project, and if someone doesn't know that, I mean, is that their fault? Like, maybe you could argue that these days, like, it's been around, you should know maybe that this project is going to take a million billion years and everything's going to be horribly delayed. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to think about that. Like, because how do they warn people? Oh, by the way, this is that's just my dream. That's just my dream. We're building a universe simulator here, so fuck knows when it's going to be ready. Is that should they have it on the website? To be fair, I did look into it for a few weeks before I bought it. It doesn't take that much research to sort of go, oh, okay, this is a forever project. Just buy the base package and see what happens. See how it goes, like. Now they're banging on about, what is it? Fucking Pyro this year. Oh, Jared's like, oh, maybe not this year. Maybe not this year. But Pyro this year. We're on the road to Pyro, right? Road to server meshing this year. And who's to say? Who's to say if it comes this year or not? It would be great if it did, but imagine if you bought the game based on that promise. Pyro's coming this year. All right. Now I'm going to buy the game. Is that your fault? Is that your fault that you did that? Or is that CIG's fault? I mean, I think it's pretty fair to lay the blame with CIG for most of this. The hype, these sort of promises that are delayed. But at the same time, I don't think it's that hard to get it. Once you get it, you get it. It's like, oh, okay, I see where this is going. I wasn't paying attention to the roadmap anyway. Like, I was just paying attention to like the next patch. I just focus on the next patch. Even you follow this game for a couple of weeks, and it's like, okay, fine, I get it. I'm just going to ignore the noise and just focus on the patch that's coming up.